Mr. Belfon. Here. Mr. Squirrel. Here. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
May I have a motion to approve this evening's agenda? I'll second the motion. Mr. Morrow? Ms. Belf? Mr. Belfon?
Yes.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Mr. Squirrel? Yes. First item on our agenda this evening is reports and presentations.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Squirrel. Welcome to our 2025-26 school year. We are pretty excited about our students starting on Thursday. For some of them, Friday on morning, and next week we continue the 6 days of first days to Mr. Lucky's chagrin, as we welcome all of our students back. But we're really excited about that. We had a great day with our staff the last 2 days, and so we feel like we are fully prepared to have just a tremendous school year. So I wanted to start by welcoming everyone, thanking all of our custodial staff, maintenance staff, transportation staff, administration, admin assistants for all the work and our central office team for all the work getting school year started. So looking forward to a great year, and we'll have lots to celebrate, I'm sure, as we progress. Tonight we wanted to take a few minutes to provide a district finance update. Last evening, we shared information with our community about the upcoming November ballot issue. So Mr. Morrow and I wanted this evening to take a few moments to provide some context and some additional commentary to that concept and to the plan for November. So what we're going through this evening is a kind of a one-page summary that will outline kind of what we're doing, why we're doing it, and some of those outcomes are. So go to the two forward, Mr. Morrow. Thank you. So what we have on the ballot for November is no income tax with a property tax reduction. And so over the last few years, this Board of Education has worked extensively with the administration to make the previously passed 2022 operating levy last the full 3 years as promised. During a time of increased inflation, lots of other activities took place that we were able to make that last as committed to from that period of time in 22, making that last. At this point in time, you know, after a lot of consideration over the past months, I'm talking 7, 8, 10 months, where we've had a lot of discussion on what the best option is for the Kings community. Number one, to create long-term sustainability, but then even that concept of lowering property taxes. But so the consideration that has been on by the board and administration for many months has been, do we continue to operate under the traditional operating levy property tax approach that we have in Kings for many years, where we would place what would have been a 6.9 mil levy on the ballot for this fall? Or do we look at a new funding approach that would create a more consistent revenue stream? So one that puts us in a position to where revenue looks a little bit different. It diversifies that revenue stream, ultimately resulting in less frequent levies while also reducing property taxes. So I think the key piece here in this concept and analysis that we worked on for a long period of time is, do we continue to operate in the manner of passing continuous permanent property tax levies versus working towards a new funding approach that de-emphasizes the need for operating levies, creating a more consistent revenue stream that ultimately grows over time, because we're not currently experiencing any growth in revenue, and then resulting in less levies while the board has established a significant goal of reducing property taxes for all homeowners. We recognize that where our community is and what the needs are. We've been fortunate to be successful in a number of ways, but we're also building a new high school and an addition at Columbia that we're really proud of to accommodate future growth, current and future growth. So as we've worked through this, what's the best approach? Is it the continual 6.9 that the modeling that we're currently working under would require a 6.9 levy in November? It would require a 6.9 levy in 2028. It would require a 6.9 levy-ish on 2031 and again in 2034. So are we on this 3-year levy cycle, which is what our modeling has shown? Or do we look at a different funding approach that would eliminate that need for those continuous operating levies? We can forecast for a significant period of time of 5 years to where we would not consider any new revenue, and potentially our modeling shows significantly longer than that as well. So with that, our goal with this entire approach is to accommodate goals that we've established as creating a more sustainable model of funding while lowering property taxes for every homeowner in the district. And so this earned income tax with a property tax reduction is designed to create a consistent revenue stream, resulting in less frequent levies and reducing property taxes for all homeowners. All of this is in need to support the day-to-day operations of the district, including staff salaries, benefits, and student programs.
So a little bit of the story. I know the board's heard this many times over the past 24 months, but as Mr. Sears said, we're on a 3-year property tax levy cycle. Right now, we're projecting to have a negative cash balance in August of 2027. It's almost exactly where we were sitting 3 years ago when the board was discussing and ultimately put a property tax levy on the ballot. Couple things on that. One, on the revenue side. So if we look at our revenues, when the board and community approves a property tax levy, that amount is essentially consistent. There's no inflationary increases. So we're needing to come back over and over to ask for a new operating levy since there's no growth. And then the second piece is our second biggest funding source, which is from the state of Ohio. We're projected to get less next year than we got this year, and we got less this year than we got last year. It's a sad story at Kings that we fight and we advocate and we hope and to break even essentially. So our revenues are essentially flat. So we've got to do something. Otherwise you have to make big reductions. So at the same time, our costs continue to rise, just like everybody else's costs for everything continue to go up. We also have the biggest student enrollment we've ever had, a more diverse population than we've had previously at Kings. So we're operating the same way we always have, but our costs continue to go up while our revenues aren't. So something's got to be done. When you look at our expenses and revenues, we've saved or generated over $8 million since the last levy was passed. This is a lot of different things around staffing and benefits and reviewing contracts and all nooks and crannies to find anything possible without affecting the student experience or affecting it as little as possible, but also not making substantial ads. So as part of that $8 million in reduced expenses and added revenues, we spend less than 69% of all districts in Ohio per student. We're consistently in the top 7% of all districts, and we spend less than 69% of them. So just shows kind of the great value that we offer at Kings. And back to the state funding, very minimal. We are the lowest in Warren County, and 91% of districts in Ohio receive more than we do. I always say that's not because we do something wrong. It's because the state's formula says you guys have higher than average incomes and higher than average property values. So you're locally funded. You can fund yourselves. You can afford to fund yourself. So we're going to distribute our pot of money elsewhere across the state. So all of this comes to, what are we going to do? We've had this conversation of what are we going to do for 24 months, and it's really ramped up in the past 8 or so since around the new year of looking at different options. One option is to just make massive cuts without giving the opportunity to the community to decide whether or not they want to see massive cuts. We presented the 6.9 mil operating, I call it the rinse and repeat, because that's what we've done in Kings for the past 30 years. Is every 3 to 6 years we ask the community for a property tax levy. They've historically said yes, and then okay, we'll be back because that levy didn't have any growth to it. So the board wanted to look at things differently, and administration, and said, okay, there's other ways to generate revenue. One of those being an earned income tax. So earned income tax, you actually see inflationary growth as the incomes in your area continue to grow. So you're not kind of stuck at that flat level like you are with a property tax. And one of the very favorable things about the earned income tax is it does not tax certain types of income, retirement income, Social Security, pensions, disability, capital gains, interest. Basically, if you have a salary and you're working, you're earning your income, it is taxed. Otherwise, it's not. That was appealing to not tax those in our community that have continued to get taxed over the years that are more vulnerable in many cases. The board also was interested in how can we give some relief to all property owners in Kings local school district. So that's how the 1 mil property tax reduction for all homeowners came to be the idea to make us different and do things differently and go down a more diverse path that allows for revenue growth.
So as we think of this plan, one of the goals has been the 2 boxes on the top are in the red: long-term sustainability and property tax reduction. This model like I'll repeat what I said at the beginning, is the modeling of this provides funding for the duration of the 5-year forecast. We are required by law to submit a 5-year forecast. Simulating this and creating a model of this, then through the forecast, we would not need another levy request during that period, and potentially much longer. We can only forecast the 5 years, but we see significantly an opportunity well beyond that as well. So we do not anticipate the need for additional levy requests during that period. The other piece of that is future property tax reductions. One of the things you'll start to see on tonight's board agenda is a cash balance policy that is, it requires the board to approve legislation and that requiring an annual property tax review. If the cash balance thresholds are met, that are established in the policy, additional property tax reductions could occur in the future. So I think this is a key piece that over the next period of time, that with the property tax reduction is something I know the board has been very interested in. When we look at over the next, let's just say 10 years, we're anticipating if this passes, we would implement a 1 mil property tax reduction. We would annually, looking at our cash balance thresholds, if we meet those thresholds, there would be automatic kickers into reducing additional property tax. While also in 2033, we are expecting millage to come off from the KME bond and the CIS bond that was passed many years ago. So that currently is approximately, Mr. Morrow,
2.5 to 3.
2.5 to 3 mils currently. And so we're anticipating over the next 10 years, a significant amount of property tax reduction over the same time that we are, modeling, less of a need for the consideration of property taxes. So that's a key piece. I know the board's very committed. It's a commitment from the board administration to continue to look to ways to reduce property taxes. This cash balance policy implements that. But again, this puts it in the category that during the 5-year forecast, we can speak with certainty. We will not be requesting another need for revenue, potentially much longer, with that. The other thing I will add is, as we continue to grow, we are not anticipating at all the need for additional bond money. This is all for operational purposes. Anything we're talking about, the master plan that we have implemented has created the opportunity for us to create long-term facility sustainability. Again, by pulling 4th grade out of our elementaries, by adding on to Columbia and putting 3 grades in our current high school, for 6th, 7th, and 8th, and then building a high school that's well equipped to, we did a 10-year forecast on that. We are not anticipating the need for any additional bond issue money during that time. This is a long-term master plan with that. The other factor is, I'll remind the community and the board as well, that we are building the high school and Columbia Edition under the premise of the Ohio Facilities Construction Commission ELP program. What that program basically does is the more of those buildings that are designed to the Ohio School Design Manual set forth by OFCC, we are building credit on that. That credit on currently a return for us is 26%. So whatever millions of dollars that we build to OFCC standards, the Ohio School Design Manual, we will generate at some point in time in the near future. We're not sure of that time frame exactly. 26% of what we build to. So we're anticipating significant double-digit millions of dollars will be returned to Kings that we will use for facility purposes. So that plan with the master plan creates this long-term sustainability for us from facilities. So we feel really great about that plan that our community supported. So without new revenue, we in 2022, we were in the same position without new revenue. We were facing a significant amount of reductions in Kings without new revenue, up to $9 million of reductions. They're going to impact directly staff, student programs, et cetera. The reason it's in that category because we have, as Mr. Morrow alluded to, we have saved or generated about a little over $8 million right now, not impacting the classroom experience. If this is not successful, we will be in a position to make reductions that will dramatically impact the classroom student experience that we have in our school district. More to come on that as we move forward. All of this information is found on our website. But if we move to the next slide, Mr. Morrow, we do want the board to see what the exact language is on the ballot. So this November 4th, this is exactly what our voters will see. It's a proposed income tax with a property tax reduction. The language is in there. The reduction basically takes the 2022 operating levy that was passed at 6.4 mils. It will be reduced to collect 5.4, being a net savings to the community. So a vote on this issue is voting for or against the 1% earned income and the property tax reduction. So it's one issue, one ballot language. It's not two separate things. It's clearly it's in the ballot language that you would see. So it's one. So if this is passed, we are committed to reducing property taxes and some of the millage collected.
Please remind me who wrote this language.
Smart.
So this exact language is written and approved by the state of Ohio. So Kings had the idea of combining the 1% earned income with a reduction. Don't know of any other schools that have done it. But as far as what's on the ballot itself, it's purely state. Secretary of State sets the ballot language based on the Ohio Revised Code. We have no way to change it, but the substance came from the Board of Education.
So for our community purposes as well, on our district website, there is a button highlighted in blue, the 2025 ballot issue. You can click there and there is pretty much all the information that we have shared currently. There is a very comprehensive FAQ section. And we will continue to add information to this. So if anyone has any information, we will add our board meeting presentations. Some of the information shared this evening, we'll make sure that it's all in that one comprehensive spot. So I think this is something that I know that we rolled out last night to just some initial language. We will be providing opportunities for our community to engage in some community forums. More information on those dates for when those will come. Mr. Morrow and I are always available for any questions anyone has that we can answer. At this time, we'll take any from the board.
So question, so I know some of the districts in Southwest Ohio already have the income tax rolled out. And not a takeaway for this meeting, but for next meeting, maybe can we see how many of those, since they have rolled this out, have had to go back to the community to ask for additional funds?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So that's been a question that's been brought to me,
Yep.
is if
Mhm.
we pass this, will we be coming back in 3 years, 5 years?
Absolutely.
Also, after we get through the start of the school year, can we see or I mean, I know it's on the website all the time, but can we see the actual growth numbers so that the community can see those as well as far as enrollment?
Yep, absolutely.
I don't want to do it tonight because I know that's going to be changing a little bit still, but
Yeah, with withdrawals and last minute additions. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
just so people understand our growth changes.
Mhm.
I had the same question, John.
Okay.
Yep. I know we've heard a lot about Wyoming School District. I think we're comparable to them, high performing, supportive community. I would specifically like to hear what their history is in terms of what they've had to run in terms of levies since they passed their initial earned income.
Absolutely. So there's about 210 districts across the state that have some type of earned income or income tax. On the FAQ, we've identified districts that are kind of right around us. So
Mhm.
we'll take a look at that list and provide some information, including Wyoming.
Okay. Thank you.
Do you have any other questions? Thank you for all your work on this.
Yeah, thank you very much.
All right, if there's nothing else, we can move on to discussion items from the treasurer, Mr. Morrow.
Thank you. So items 1 and 2 are the typical meeting minutes from the prior month. If the board could take a look at those in the next week and let me know if you see any issues or changes. We have the financial items. This month, with us only being 1 month into the fiscal year, really don't have much of an update as far as a year-to-date comparison type document. But we do have the normal bank reconciliations, checks, donations. Number 4 is section 125 benefits. So we offer numerous benefits at King's for employees for different ways that they can take advantage of spending mechanisms such as health savings accounts, flexible spending accounts, dependent. So we've had the same provider for the last few years. Our insurance consultants did an RFQ for potentially changing that due to a number of factors. So I'm recommending that we switch to American Fidelity for most of the products, and then Enrollment Management Services, who actually handles our insurance opt-out for one of the products that it just makes sense. So the health reimbursement account, or HRA, it goes hand in hand with the opt-out benefits. So it makes sense for them to kind of handle both. I will say that many districts around us work with American Fidelity for these products. We work with them already for some types of insurance. They do it at no cost to us, which is fantastic. And we had them in the past here, so we have that familiarity. Health insurance renewal, not fantastic news, but it could have been worse. We're looking at an 8.3% increase this year. If you look at the list, you can kind of see throughout our history of what we've gotten in Kings. We switched to the Swoosh Consortium a few years ago, and it's been spectacular for us. We actually saw a decrease 2 years ago and a 0.5% increase this year. So our staff and our district is paying less this year for insurance than we did 3 years ago, which is amazing. So we were due for some kind of increase, and an 8.3 is pretty much market, which is anywhere from 7 to 9. So we rode the wave of a couple fantastic years, and now we're back to kind of that market average. So hopefully going forward, we don't see market increases and we can get back to that lower increase. But I'll also add that this is no change to our plan, keeping the same benefits. Dental insurance renewal. We're in the middle of a contract with MetLife for our dental for all staff. We're looking at a 6.1% premium increase. You can see this hasn't been as well performing as health. They bought the business in 2024 with a negative renewal, and then we build in kind of maximums of what our renewal increases would be. So we'll be shopping this next year to see if there's another company that's more competitive, but we're locked in a contract right now, so we continue with MetLife at the same benefits. Number 7, investment reporting. This is pretty much just a compliance. So we work with Red Tree. They've presented to the board before, and they provide this pretty document about all of our different investment activities in the past year. And we're required to present that in public to the board and also report that to the state of Ohio. Employee calendars. So as with last year, we, as a central office, spent many hours on employee calendars, making them match union agreements and employee handbooks, and then we post them on the website. So this is asking the board to take a look at these and approve them. I've had many eyes on them, much time, but getting days and holidays and off days and breaks to all align is a pretty big job when you have as many employees as we do at Kings. And number 9 is the cash balance policy that was mentioned earlier in the presentation. So this is kind of the third prong of what the board's looking to do here. So one is generate revenue with an earned income tax that only taxes earned incomes, and then also the property tax reduction. And that third piece is if we do have more cash than what's needed for normal operations, and there's a way to give back to the community again, what's the mechanism for that? So as we put in the presentation and on that kind of one pager, this is legislation that creates board policy that says if we meet certain cash thresholds, we have to give back. We have to do some type of property tax relief. So I'm adding this on as a draft again, just to continue the conversation and continue the eyes on it to hopefully get it approved next week, depending on what the sentiment is. But we made thresholds of 35% cash balance, and then also looking out longer in the forecast to make sure that we're not going to give back when we're going to need it in 3 years to get back on some kind of levy cycle. So I think this is fair. The 35% is actually lower than the threshold that the state was trying to mandate for districts anyway, which was 40%. So we're below that. And then also I looked at some districts around us and in our kind of 4-county area to see what is their cash balance, what does their forecast look like, would this actually fit with some districts? There was actually quite a few. For example, Monroe, if we were them, we would be giving property tax back. If we were Lakota, Marymount, we would be right on the threshold where we would be considering it. So I think this is fair and a good starting point to get something kind of in legislation that sets that annual meeting and then also sets those thresholds. But it can, of course, be changed, and it could be changed before it gets put in. But trying to find that balance of what's reasonable, but what doesn't put us in a position to give back and then have to ask again.
Yeah, I don't know what that perfect balance is. I just want the public to get some millage back. You know, if they vote for this, I want them to know that we're working hard to get them. I mean, in all reality, it's property tax reform. You know, we need to figure out how to help our taxpayers get some of that back.
Not only while we're on the board, but years down the road.
Correct.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's what's important about this board getting it in legislation, that once it's in board policy, it would take a majority of a future board to get it out or to change it. So based on our community and kind of the reception that we get when we talk about potentially lowering property taxes, it could happen, but be tough for a board to come in and say, yeah, we're going to get rid of that because we actually don't want to reduce property taxes in the future. So it's one of those things that once it's there, it's going to be hard to get rid of.
Good.
And then the last piece of mine is the public records log. You'll see that the school year 24-25 is completely up to date. And then we have one that I just received yesterday for current school year. So we'll work on that.
Thank you, Mr. Morrow. Do we have any questions or comments for Mr. Morrow? Okay, seeing nothing else. Next on our agenda, we have discussion item superintendent. Mr. Sears, do you have anything?
I do not have anything to see.
Thank you. Moving along, we have discussion items, assistant superintendent, HR business. Mr. Spinner.
Good evening, President Skrull, King's Board of Education. I believe we're taking a roll call on these items tonight, if I'm correct. Just we have some personnel items. Number one, new staff members. I'd like to point out one staff member in particular, Ian Weil, new music teacher at JF Burns, KME, and CIS. We're very excited to welcome him to the team. And then also under staff miscellaneous, we have some teachers being approved as cooperating teachers and receiving university funds as a flow through the district. We've talked a few times about the University of Cincinnati's program that they have with us in mentoring teachers, specifically in special education. That's been a successful program for us. Happy to answer any questions when it relates to personnel. Before passing it off to Mr. Lucky, would like to also point out number 5. This is our second reading for our personal communication devices policy. We had our first reading last week. I know some of the idea of expediting this policy and getting it in board policy is so that we can communicate it out to our parents and our students as to what our personal communication device policy is. And I believe we have plans in place to communicate that out through final forms as early as tomorrow, were the board to approve this policy tonight. Mr. Lucky?
Mr. Spinner, a couple items for construction and a few things tonight. You'll see the first one there, number 2, Columbia change orders. 3 change orders for approval for tonight. First one is to chemically wash the brick of the building. We did a test area inside the courtyard that you guys had approved earlier. It did very well. So moving on to the remainder of the building. Number 9 is to replace the insulation of the piping in the chiller yard. You guys have probably never been in a chiller yard and seen the labyrinth of pipe that runs through there, but that insulation is very important to keep the efficiency of the water. So the water's chilled in the chiller yard, it goes into an air handler and comes to the room. So the colder you can keep that, or hotter from the boiler side, the colder you can keep it from the chiller to the air handler, the more efficiently you're able to cool the building. And then we did change order number 10, which converts, we had very little vegetation in the courtyard, and to maintain that and make it last effectively, we swapped out the little bit of seed and straw in the courtyard for some Wash Creek rock in there. Just will help it look nicer, longer, easier to maintain, less cost from a maintenance standpoint inside there. So that's it for those 3 change orders, just to keep you up to speed of this money comes from the contingency money, which is all our money. So after these 3 change orders, we still have remaining in our contingency of our pot of money, $46,000 to keep making enhancements to the building and making improvements. And there's still $51,000 of CMR contingency dollars that are our dollars that, depending on how the finish of the process goes, those dollars are just allocated out there because you just never know what you're going to run into. We're so far into this, we feel comfortable to allocate the funds and putting things back into the building to make improvements. Any questions on that?
So these will not change the total cost of the building since we've got that contingency there, correct?
Correct.
And just to clarify for the public, that contingency amount that you're discussing, Mr. Lucky, is for the Columbia project.
Correct.
Okay.
And what's the time frame at this point?
October will be in there. Hope a little bit sooner, but
Hope it's not a strategy, Mr.
that's,
Lucky.
but you know this, you know this.
Heard that.
Once or
Right.
see that.
Next item on there is the Kings Island agreement. So just to reiterate, our partnership with Kings Island is fantastic. They have some new leadership over there that we've gotten to know a little bit over this. So this is just some rewording of our contract that really helps us and allows us to do some things moving forward with the high school from a financial perspective. Should help us tremendously as we go through zoning and permitting to allow us to utilize those funds for kids more so than for barriers and other things over there. So very, very thankful for their agreement to adjust these language items in the contract. Lastly, a couple more buses to go away. Bus 60 and 61 need new engines, and the age of those buses does not really make a whole lot of sense to make that investment. So those will go away. So to bring a little more light to this, I think is important, because you start seeing these buses go away and it's like, what are we doing to replace? The great thing that we've done here, I'm I'm going to assume it started before me, but when I got here, we were at 55 routes. With the things that the board has done and that we've done, carve that down to 43 routes, which you don't have all the overhead of buses. You can move these things out without replacing them. So there's a lot of great things in this little line that is in bus disposal, but over the years, we've done a really good job to find efficiency in that transportation budget.
Thanks for pointing that out. Just out of curiosity, when these buses get disposed of, what happens to them? Do they get shipped off to a bus graveyard or sold for parts?
This one, so they can go to scrap. We've done that, and financially, it doesn't make sense to, we'll put them up for auction. And the ones that run, we've been able to move a couple of those, and made a little bit of money, but these, the last couple have gone to a salvage person, who pays us way more than we get to just straight scrap them. And they work on them and use them for a bus crash derby. Not joking.
Where can I see that?
Eaton, Ohio is the closest one. I asked the same question. I was like, I gotta go see this.
Wonder if it still says Kings when.
At their fairgrounds.
So our last scrap bus, we got $38 for. By the time you tow it there, you're basically paying the tow bill to get it to the scrap yard. We get about $500 a piece for them to come and take them for this purpose. So a little bit more beneficial.
Every little bit adds up.
Bet you never thought you'd hear that today.
I did not. All right. Do we have any questions for Mr. Spinner or Mr. Lucky?
Last question on the personal communication device policy. When do the kids get that communication? So, because I know it is a change for them.
My section, you are going to approve the handbooks that'll have the updated personal communication device, and the students will get the first day. So parents will receive it tomorrow, so will kids in final forms, and then it's all the handbooks, the whole policy. So everyone will get that one on their first day of school.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna reiterate Mr. Lucky's point about the ownership at Kings Island, just thanking them as a board for the amendments there. That language around the buffer, that's a big piece for us. So thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. May I have a motion to approve the discussion items for Assistant Superintendent HR Business?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second the motion.
Mr. Morrow?
Mr. Belfrom,
Yes.
Ms. Phillips,
Yes.
Ms. Groff,
Yes.
Mr. Skrull.
Yes. Next item on our agenda, discussion items, Assistant Superintendent Educational Programs. Mrs. Martin?
So as you know, usually we have the handbooks in July that we vote on, but we held them off until the personal communication device board policy was updated, so we could get all of that language in there. All of that has been updated, and then the rest of the handbooks are very typical, just date changes, staff changes. There's really no substantial other change in there that you would see. So we are asking for you to vote on that tonight also, now that the board policy has been updated. So that'd be the first thing we do, and I'll take any questions.
I did note on all of those handbooks that the changes have been highlighted, so that makes it easy to see. Thank you for doing that.
Thank you to the assistants. I think they do a great job.
I just wanted parents that are listening to hear, like when they're.
I've talked to quite a few building principals, even as of like an hour ago. Like, Dana, it's going out tomorrow morning, right? Because I'm gonna start talking about it tomorrow. I'm like, yes, it goes out tomorrow morning. So all of them have ideas on how they're also gonna get it in front of parents, open houses, newsletters, all different discussions with their teachers. Like, there's been a major topic of conversation for all of us.
Good.
May I have a motion to approve the handbooks?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second the motion. Mr. Morrow?
Ms. Groff,
Yes.
Mr. Skrull,
Yes.
Ms. Phillips,
Yes.
Mr. Beltran.
Yes.
I'm gonna turn it over to Matt and Deanne to talk about artificial intelligence guidelines for teachers and students. We have shared this quite a bit this past year. We had an AI thought team working together this whole last year in conjunction with Forward Edge. We have board policy around AI. We've brought this to the Teaching and Learning Council in June, and we're ready to share with you all. And we have a couple conversations. I'll let them share around what AI we have purchased for the district with our staff and students. So I'll turn it over to Matt. I'm not gonna say any more.
Thanks, Dana. Yeah, so as Dana said, this is, we actually have two documents here that we're sharing with you this evening. One is specific for students and families and appropriate use around artificial intelligence for school purposes, and the other one is specific to teachers. There are some similarities there, but as we were working through what we wanted our guidelines to look like, it seemed to make better sense to us to really separate those out. Just for audience purposes. So one of the items that's listed in the guidelines is a tool that we have selected to use. It's a lot of AI tools are free sometimes, but the issue now with Senate Bill 29 that we have talked about kind of on and off over the course of the spring and summer, there are data privacy guidelines that a lot of those free resources don't meet. So Magic School is a tool that meets those guidelines for data privacy. And so that's a tool that we have selected that all of our students in 512 will be able to access and use, and that we will be encouraging our teachers to use as well. Teachers can still use other popular AI tools like ChatGPT on their own, or Gemini, those other popular AI tools that we hear about all the time, but they won't be able to use those in relationship to the student data. So we'll be doing some training. We've actually had one meeting already with Magic School. We have actually our kickoff meeting tomorrow morning with a team here at central office. Of course, Dana, Deanne, and Chris Chamberlain, our technology instructional specialist, will be kind of leading that charge together. We'll have some professional development that we'll be rolling out to staff in the coming months. They have access to the tool already. So when it was free, they'll still be able to continue to use it as they have in the past, but we'll be specifically doing training with our staff, and then it will go kind of waterfall then down to student use as well. So we've outlined that in these two documents. Deanne, did I miss anything?
Got it. So
Thank you. We practiced that. Any questions on that one? Then strategic initiatives are next.
Yeah, I can start. So you all could do this summary of strategic initiatives as well as Matt and I. We are so fortunate that you have stayed along this journey for the past 4 years with us with strategic initiatives. This past year, we brought every building to a board presentation for everybody. So we've given you a summary because that's what we've done the past 3 years. But that summary just already tells us what we all know about what we've done in the district. We want to let you know that in June, when we did the district retreat with the administrators, we kind of capped off the year, talked about our strategic initiatives, and that's the summary you really see. They turned in an executive summary, and then Matt and I created it for all the district. Then just a couple weeks ago in August, we met again and started this year. We are bringing back the presentations to the boards, but we've given them a different prompt this year. It's going to be around student voice and really giving us examples around strategic initiatives really centered on students. So that's going to give them a little bit different flavor to what they're going to bring to present for all of us. So we just wanted to get that in front of you. Everybody, I think, has signed up already, and you might hear from the coaches before we even do the buildings. So we've got some new things we're going to do this year, so you all stay involved as usual. We've not changed the strategic initiatives. They're the same 3. We've not changed wording much, maybe a little bit on one of them, but in general, we are still sticking with what we're doing. The past 2 days, the professional development in the buildings has really been the administrators with the work that we did in June and August, kicking it off. And Matt and I have started seeing pictures from the past 2 days and some emails from the past 2 days around it. And it has just picked right back up. So we're really excited about the strategic initiatives and where we're headed. Matt, did I miss anything? Questions for us around them?
How did you initiate the new teachers for our district?
With the strategic initiatives. So Mr. Spinner can even talk about this more, but when we do the 2 days of training, in our teaching and learning part, we spend time with them, with the coaches and us explaining the strategic initiatives, talking about what's going to happen in the building, where we've kind of been. So we give them a big overview and then the buildings pull them into. Good question.
Thank you.
We will keep you all updated as usual.
Thank you very much. Moving on, we have items presented by the board. We have one item in here and we need to get an OSBA delegate and alternate appointment for the annual business meeting. I must say, I have been the delegate for the past 3 years. Actually, 2 years ago, I couldn't make it. First year, it was brutal. It was like 4 hours long. This last year, it was great. It was only half an hour long and I got to see the end of the presentation that they gave. So the process is not as heavy as it had been in prior years. So hopefully I'm doing a good job selling. Do you have any volunteers?
So I'm gonna rule myself out. Here's the thing. Happy wife, happy life. Like 2 weeks before that is my 25th wedding anniversary, and we have something planned that weekend, so I'm not able to go. So if you don't want to have to replace me as a board member, I'm gonna have to bow out gracefully that weekend. Or else I would do it, John. But yeah, I won't be able to attend. Less things change, and I'll let you know.
I'll take one for the team on this one. I haven't done it yet, so
It's not bad. And actually you get to meet people from all over the state. So
that's great. Yeah,
break up some good conversation with whoever.
absolutely.
If you want to hold me to 2026, I will put my name in for that right now.
We are recording this.
Yeah.
You can put my name down for the alternate.
Thank you. Do we need to vote on this or is this just?
Okay.
Do we have any walk-on items presented by the board?
The only thing I would like, and I don't even know if Mr. Sears would like to comment on it, but at opening day yesterday, we had a really great example of student voice. And if that's one of the pieces of the strategic initiatives, that it goes along really well with that. And Taylor Kleiss even mentioned that in a couple of times when she spoke, how important it was that she found her voice. So do you want to sum up a little bit for us? Because a couple people weren't there and it really was powerful.
Yeah, so as the board knows, Taylor Kleiss is a consistent contributor to our board meetings and will be again this year for our RAISE presentation. So I had in May asked her if she would consider delivering a keynote address to all of our staff at opening day. And she graciously, without any hesitation, said 100% I'm in. So I just gave her the prompt of inspire the teachers. That's all she had. And with that, she was very instrumental in helping. We wanted to have a student panel because we invited 5 additional seniors who have spent the majority of their career in Kings and have seen multiple buildings and a lot of variation of grade levels, and wanted to just get their input on what are the things that matter most. How have teachers made connections with them? What are relationships they built? What advice they could give new staff members that are just for the first time entering Kings, and what are some considerations that our staff should consider that students are working through right now that they might not realize. And so just a lot of their input. They were very engaging, confident, honest, and just a great representation of all of our students. So Taylor Kleiss was a part of that. Ava McIntyre, Madison Titler, Addie Stilsky, Santiago Garcia, and Ben Delahanty were the folks that they joined us, and they just did a great job being real, being authentic, and just reminded all of us that as we are faced with all of these outside external pressures, external mandates, things that oftentimes make no sense to us, we're keeping our eye focused on Kings. We're focusing on our students. And I think you'll see that in our board meetings this year. We wanted to kick off opening day this year to have, how do we amplify student voice? In no better way than to hear from kids who have grown up here, who just spoke about the sense of community. So anyway, I don't know if that's exactly what you were looking for, Mrs. Groff, but
That's exactly.
it was something that I was super proud of them. Those kids, they met ahead of time, unprompted. They met at Starbucks last week to start to collaborate, and they just said the conversations were just incredible. But we're proud of our students. And a lot of the other things that we have to deal with just gets in the way of the work that we're trying to do every day. And it's unfortunate in Ohio that that's what happens. But we are hyper focused on keeping our eye on what's best for our kids. And so all the other things, our job as leaders in this district is to keep things off of our teachers' plates so that they can focus on doing the great work they're going to continue to do, albeit sometimes muddy in our world. But that's our mission, to drive our students forward. So really proud of them. It's hard to get up in front of 600 people and speak candidly, but they were absolutely hilarious and authentic, and did a nice job. So thanks for those of you who were able to attend. Yeah, Mr. Blanton put a video out, I guess, today. So yep.
Thank you for giving them that opportunity.
Yeah,
That's great.
absolutely.
I was at a retired teacher's luncheon today, and I shared parts of that, just kind of sitting around the table, so it's see.
Just when I thought nothing could top your Bucky's presentation from last year.
It
The
topped
student-
it.
Yeah, the student discussion certainly did. That was really good. Yeah.
Okay, if there's no other items presented by the board, before we move into executive session, I do want to wish all the students and teachers, hope you'll have a great school year. I know it's a busy time for everybody, and not everybody's looking forward to it. Some people are looking forward to it, but just wish everyone the best. So moving on then, we'll be entering into executive session for the following purpose: to consider the employment and compensation of a public employee or official. May I have a motion to go into executive session?
Make that motion.
I'll second the motion. Sorry.
Mr. Morrow?
Ms. Phillips.
Yes.
Mr. Belfram.
Yes.
Ms. Groff.
Yes.
Mr. Skir.
Yes. Please note, once we're out of executive session, we will go ahead and adjourn. So thanks for joining.
It's when we're adjourned.